If you are watching this, your girl is officially down 50 pounds. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share with you guys how I have lost 50 pounds. I have been sharing with you guys how I've been doing it along the way, but I haven't really gone fully into detail like I intend to do in today's video. I did want to reserve just filming this video or just sharing all this information until I personally hit my first big milestone, which is 50 pounds. Again, if you're watching this, I am currently down 50 pounds. Super excited about it. I don't even really have to post a side by side because you can clearly see it in my face. Double chin wear. Okay, maybe a slight double chin, but I'm working on her and she will be gone when we come back for our next fitness journey, health journey update. But I will go ahead and post a side by side over here. So this was me about 50 pounds ago. When I was 50 pounds heavier, I was at my highest weight, but I turned 30 in September, this past September, and I have been regaining just control since then. And there are many things that I've been doing that I want to share with you in today's video. Today's video is being sponsored by NOOM. Many of the things that I've been doing and the tips that I am going to be sharing with you are already philosophies and principles that NOOM stands for. So I thought I would go ahead and share with you guys what NOOM is. NOOM is a health program created by behavior psychologists that help you make good habits so that you can eat healthier and lose weight and just meet your overall health and fitness goals. Essentially, it teaches you the why behind your habits so that you can actually change your mindset, which again, a lot of the principles that they are already backing are ones that I am going to be sharing with you momentarily. NOOM has daily lessons and learning tools to teach you about nutrition, progress tracking, and best practices for lifelong results. As you guys know, we are prepping for the conception of our first child, and we would like to be pregnant by the end of this year, perhaps. So in the interim, you know, and especially since turning 30, which we already knew that we were probably going to be trying to conceive at the end of this year, I just figured it would be the smartest and wisest thing to do to just go ahead and try to, you know, just change my eating habits overall, increase my fitness and exercise, and just try to be better to my body. Again, we'll talk more about that momentarily. To get started with the NOOM, all you have to do is head to noom.com. They will prompt you to take a health survey. It's pretty in-depth, but it only takes like 5 to 10 minutes. So you do that, you'll have access to coaches that you can message and chat with. There are tons and tons of recipes that you can choose from, and there are also daily lessons that you can take advantage of. You can also track your food, track your workout. You can do your calorie counting in there. There's a step counter. I mean, basically all that you need to do to get started with, you know, living a healthier lifestyle. So I will have the link down below in the description box. All you gotta do is click on it. Again, take the health survey and you can get started and be on your way. Another quick shout out to NOOM for sponsoring today's video. Let's go ahead and talk about the tips and tricks that I have been doing to lose 50 pounds. Okay, so these are in no real particular order, but one of the things that I've been doing is changing my mindset. So I think a lot of my upbringing and just the foods that were, you know, given to me and fed to me as a child just had a lot to do with, you know, like my relationship with food and how I viewed food and all of that stuff. I will say that personally, when I was growing up, I wasn't fed the best foods or the healthiest foods. And what's crazy now is that I have expanded my palate so much, such that I don't think that there's a food group, a food item, or anything out there that I actually don't like. I was never fed broccoli or zucchini or squash or really any of that, but now I love all of that and I pretty much eat those vegetables on the reg. So just kind of changing my mindset. I've also been trying to view food as simply fuel, because that's pretty much what it is. Now, if you're a foodie, which I would consider foodies to be people who are like really serious about enjoying, you know, good tasting food, then you know, that's gonna be a little bit different for you. You're gonna have to, your walk will be different. But for me, I've never been like, you know, outside of Thanksgiving dinner, maybe, I've never been like super obsessed with like any one food or food item or food group. So I have been just simply trying to view food as fuel. And so when I am consuming food, I am being diligent about, you know, what it is that I'm putting into my body. Because truth be told, there are some foods that are not going to give me fuel. Chips, as an example, are not giving me any type of fuel. There's no real need for me to even consume chips, if we're being quite frank. So for me, you know, giving myself something that's gonna fuel me would be like, you know, a food high in protein or fiber, or, you know, oatmeal, peanut butter, those types of things. Those foods actually give me fuel. So all of that kind of rolls into my next tip, which is education. I have been educating myself on, again, the foods that actually give me fuel, the foods that are better for my body. And not only have I just been like, you know, just educating myself, I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of, you know, Google searches, just a lot of watching videos, just trying to learn about the body, what it needs, foods, what is in foods, what foods I should be consuming, what foods I should be avoiding. And realistically, I pretty much avoid all foods that I'm not really, that have no value for me, like empty calories, or foods that are super high in sugar, or foods that are super high in, you know, something that I've recently learned. I mean, I feel like I probably should have learned this some years ago, but I never really paid attention to it. But the difference between a simple carb and a complex carb, and like what that actually means. Like, I knew what a simple carb was and what a complex carb was, but I didn't really know what that really meant. So I've just been learning all about food, and it has been so helpful. Tip number 3, I actually consume pretty low carbs. I would say I consume about 60 carbs per day, sometimes even less. I don't have like a goal in mind for each day or each meal regarding like how many calories I'm going to consume or carbs or whatever the case is. I just eat the foods that I'm supposed to be eating, which are already naturally low in carbs. Lots of foods that are high in protein. So chicken, salmon, white meats are kind of like my go-tos realistically, but obviously there are other meats out there that have protein. So I'm eating meat pretty much with every meal. I'm eating lots of vegetables. Those are low carb as well. I am consuming fruits. Now, fruits do have sugars, and they do and can have carbs, but there are fruits that are that have less sugar and less carbs, like blackberries and some of the other types of berries. Again, all of this has been part of me educating myself. Now, I do have a sweet tooth. If I am to consume any type of sweet, it is not like your average sweet. I am eating sugar-free candy, no sugar added Klondike bars. That's a thing. What do they call sugar sweets, or some kind of candy? It's kind of like a Swedish fish, and they have peach rings and other kind of candies, but they are not high in sugar or high. They actually have a little bit more sugar than they do carbs, but they're not high in carbs. If I need something salty or crunchy, I am eating like pork skins, nuts, almonds, peanuts, those types of things. If I want something, you know, savory, salty, crunchy. So for the breakfast foods that I enjoy boiled eggs or scrambled eggs. I enjoy oatmeal. I enjoy low carb yogurt. I may eat some bacon every now and again. I've just been kind of trying to cut back on my pork intake just overall, but I do love bacon, so I will eat bacon maybe like once a week, and I normally have like 2 slices per week. And those are pretty much my go-to breakfast options. For lunch, I'm normally having some type of fish, so I really like salmon, I like tilapia. Chicken, of course, like baked chicken, and really that's pretty much the extent of my lunch options. And of course, I'm having vegetables. I like zucchini, squash, broccoli, carrots, and normally on the side, after as like a little treat, I'll have some type of fruit. I like mandarin oranges. I like oranges, apples, bananas. Those are kind of like my go-to fruit options. Again, blackberries and berries as well. For my snack options, I like, again, peanuts, almonds. I like yogurt. I'll eat an egg as a snack. Pork skins, which we already talked about. I will consume my low carb, low sugar, no sugar candies, those types of things. Now for dinner, I pretty much eat the same stuff that I eat for lunch, basically like the exact same type of food groups, if that makes any sense. So my dinner looks very similar. Sometimes because I do have a husband who is not trying to lose weight and does not really like eating healthy foods, we might have spaghetti, but we might not cook it your average way because, you know, we want to do it in a healthier type of style. We might have breakfast for dinner because most of the breakfast foods we love, so we might have breakfast for dinner. We might have pizza. Of course, the goal is to have as few carbs as possible, so thin crust is a better option for pizza if we're going to have pizza, and of course one that has, you know, a decent amount of protein and, you know, vegetables. And we just try to get creative with dinner, but for the most part, the meal is going to include some kind of chicken or even a beef. And my husband doesn't really care for fish, fish, so that is why we might do beef for dinner, which is when we're eating together, because otherwise we're both at work. So tip number 4 is exercise, exercise, exercise. My husband actually exercises with me. We get up about 2 hours or so before work, and we try to work out or exercise for about 30 minutes. We normally are walking during the work week, but on the weekends we like to ride our bikes. So we'll take our bikes elsewhere and we'll ride. So we try to walk for about 30 minutes in the mornings, and that shakes out to be about a little over 1.5 miles, and I normally end up burning about 240 calories just from the morning walk. But whenever we are off and we can go ride our bikes, then we'll do maybe, you know, an hour of riding. So maybe we might go 3 or 4 miles and I may burn more calories. So we try to like save the more rigorous exercising for cycling or, you know, riding our bikes. Regarding how many times we do this, I would say at minimum we exercise at least 3 times out the week, and we ride our bikes at least once a week. So we're definitely getting in at least 4 workouts per week. I don't know if I want to call this next thing a tip, but really it's just another thing that I've been doing, which I have practically given up alcohol. By practically, I mean I have taken 1 shot for my friend turning 30 in the past month. Like, that's the only bit of alcohol that I've had. Now, fun fact, alcohol, especially like vodka, tequila, those types of drinks don't have any carbs in them, and you can for sure, you know, make low sugar drinks and low carb drinks and enjoy yourself, you know, some wine. Even there are a lot of wines with low carb and low sugar, but I've just decided personally that it doesn't really like advance me in meeting my health and fitness goals. So I pretty much just try to avoid it, and I've been pretty successful with it. What I'm not saying or trying to do is like cut alcohol cold turkey, but rather just, you know, if I feel I want to take a shot here or there or have a drink here or there, I'll do that. But it's not going to be a regular occurring thing, which for a while, you know, my husband and I, whenever we would go on a date night, which would be like every other week or something like that, or if we would have a date night in, maybe like once a week, we would have a few drinks. So I'm just cutting out all of that because really it's not really advancing me to meeting any of my goals. Tip number 6 is portion control, portion control, portion control. There are a lot of tips that I can give to help one increase their portion control. Like, one of the tips is to, instead of like dipping your hands into some type of bag of candy or chips or cookies or whatever, maybe taking them out and putting them on a piece of, you know, a napkin or a plate or something like that, so you can actually see how much of whatever it is that you're putting into your body. So that's something that I do, especially if I am going to have something that I'm really wouldn't normally have. Like, my supervisor had some kind of like pretzels at work, some kind of like butter pretzels, and I wanted to try some. I'm not opposed to, you know, having a tiny bit of something that I normally wouldn't buy for myself. So I got a napkin and I poured some on there, and I was able to kind of, you know, control my portion that way. But that is one of the things that I've been doing, obviously. And it's not so much like just trying to restrict what it is that I'm putting in my body, but making sure I'm putting the right portions for the different of the different food groups into my body, if that makes any sense. So making sure I'm putting into my body, you know, a good amount of protein, a good amount of vegetables, a good amount of fruits, you know, a limited amount of carbs, that type of thing. My next tip is water, water, water. Pretty much you're gonna catch me drinking flavored water like Propel. They have different flavored waters. Sparkling waters like LaCroix, they have a ton of flavors, or even just regular water. I have discovered a lot of like sugar-free drinks and stuff like that, so I may purchase those and enjoy one of those every now and again. But I basically don't like to put any sugar or carbs into my body via drinking, if that makes any sense. I just like to reserve my carbs for like brown rice, or maybe a piece of toast, or, you know, something else that is more enjoyable. The next thing that I am doing is intermittent fasting. Now, I didn't know that that was even a real thing until like 2 years ago, and I don't do it purposefully. Obviously, if that's something that you might want to do, you'll need to research it and consult with your physician or your primary care doctor. But personally, I have never really been huge on eating early. So basically, by the time I'm ready to eat, it's like 11 a.m. And truth be told, I eat lunch at work at 12 p.m. So I normally just wait and I just eat lunch. Again, I'm not advocating for this or saying that you should do this. I just always feel sick to my stomach 9 times out of 10 when I'm eating breakfast. However, there are certain times where I can stomach breakfast, like 10 a.m. on a Sunday, or like, you know, before we go on a serious bike ride, I may have some type of small breakfast. And when I am consuming the breakfast, unless it's for dinner, it's normally a small portion anyway. But yeah, I do intermittent fasting pretty much every day out of the week. Another thing that I have been doing is sharing my progress and just being accountable. I'm pretty much accountable to my husband, although he doesn't really have to like hold me accountable much, because if anything, I'm holding him accountable, because I pretty much just eat the foods that I'm supposed to be eating, or you know, that are good for me to eat. So I'm not really, maybe in the beginning maybe he had to, but as of right now, especially the last 5 months since I've been like really serious, which is when I turned 30 in September, I've just been kind of just eating the foods that I'm supposed to be eating. But I did want to say that I do share my progress with like Facebook and Instagram and social media and stuff like that, just, you know, because I want to it's kind of like an accountability type of thing, and an inspirational type of thing, because I know a lot of people, you know, inquire, which is why I'm filming this video. So I do that, and I feel like that really does play a part in my continuing to stay the course. The final thing that I've been doing is keeping my eyes on the prize. I want to live a healthier lifestyle for me. I want to live a healthier lifestyle for, you know, as we embark on this journey to bring in a child into this world. I have wanted to like educate myself and learn about all the things that no one ever taught me when I was coming up, and, you know, so that when my child does get here, I could feed my child healthy foods. And so I'll already, you know, the goal is for me to already have learned and educated myself in this arena, which I've had to educate myself in a lot of different arenas throughout my life, but having educated myself in this arena so that I'm feeding my child the appropriate foods. Sometimes I think about, you know, I'm really, you know, kind of just committed and determined to changing my way of life so that, you know, I can feed my kid healthy foods, and I can teach my kid about healthier options. And, you know, because at the rate we were going, the kid was probably gonna be eating McDonald's every day, which, you know, that would be a real travesty. There are a lot of things riding on this, more so than me just looking better or feeling better or whatever. In fact, I'd say that's important to me, but everything else is probably even more important to me personally. Another shout out to NOOM for sponsoring this video. If you want to see more progress or just more frequent updates, follow me over on Instagram. I will be over there updating you guys along the way, just sharing grocery hauls and my, you know, lunch for the day and dinner for the day and all of that type of stuff. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really wanted this to be informative and educational. So if you have any questions and you don't care to make them public, definitely leave them down in the comment section. Otherwise, you guys can email me at info@shaybudgets.com. Not a nutritionist, not a behavioral psychologist, although I do work in mental health and I did minor in psychology, but I'm not an expert by any means, but I can share with you my opinion and what I have been doing and all of that good stuff. So again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.